Hi, good evening. Welcome to tonight's Table Talk with Parents. My name is Alicia Newell, and I have the privilege of serving as the Assistant Vice President for Student Affairs here at Wichita State. We designed Table Talk for Parents as a way to connect and really stay informed with our parents and find ways to help them navigate the new process of your students coming and welcome them really to the Shocker family, and also just really making sure that we have a way to partner with you. We feel that partnering with our parents is one of the most important and critical things that we can do to help you and your students succeed while they're here at Wichita State. I'm a proud alum of the university. I have been here at Wichita State going on 16, 17 years. I stopped counting. And as a first generation college student, it's really important for me to make sure that other students who come from a similar background also have that support from their parents. And so making sure that we're helping other parents navigate that process. In my role here at Wichita State, I oversee assessment and student retention and also oversee our student in distress, in crisis, and working with our care team. And so I'm going to turn it over to some of our other partners for them to introduce themselves, and then we'll get started with tonight's topic. Kim?
Hi, everybody. This is Kim Sandlin. I serve as the Director of Student Success, and we're going to talk a little bit about that and the services in our area a little bit later this evening. But I, as Alicia, am an alum of the university. I've been working here for I'm in my 22nd year. I haven't stopped counting because it's very important to know that fact. And again, I was a first generation student here as well, and really appreciate the opportunity to be able to connect with parents and partner with our friends in student affairs. So you're going to hear more from me a little bit later, so I'll throw it over to Teresa for her introduction.
Hi, everyone. My name is Teresa Tureen, and I'm with Financial Operations. I've been with the university for 18 years. About 7 of that's been in financial operations. I am currently a graduate student here at WSU studying public administration, and I'm also the mother of a current student. So when you come into the office or I talk to somebody on the phone, and I understand what it's like to be that parent. So today I'm going to go ahead and start showing you the portal that your student has on their for finances on their My WSU portal. So I'm going to go ahead and start that right now. So in front of you, you should be able to see where I'm in the student portal, and I'm on the My Finances tab. And one of the first things for you to do is to have your student log on to the Title IV, and this is where you allow financial aid to pay for all non-related tuition fees. And unfortunately, that link's not working for me this evening, but that's okay. That's where you'll need to take care of that. We're going to go ahead and look at the student account suite. I'm going to give you a quick overview. I do want you to know that you can always have your student sign in and you can look at the portal with them. And that way you can get used to what they see. So your student financial page will start out with a financial agreement, a consent, and that consent needs to be accepted in order to continue on. One of the things that I want to point out to you about this statement of financial responsibility is please take the time to look it over, read through it, and if you don't understand anything, feel free to drop us an email at wsuaccountsreceivable@wichita.edu. A few of the bullet points is when a student enrolls, they are responsible for payment. So if the student was to drop the class and his or her financial aid was affected, then there may be a responsibility on their part, on the student's part, to pay. Also, all items such as any notifications of a statement or anything like that is all sent via electronic methods. You will not receive anything in the mail. So your student and yourself need to be aware of that. So I'm going to go ahead and agree to that. And we're going to look at the main page, the landing page of the portal. It's the little home page. And it just takes a moment to load. So these are announcements over here on the left. And this, anytime there's anything that's important for you to know, it's going to be over here in the announcement side. One thing I want to let everybody know is negative balances. As you can see, my balance is $7,978 and some change. But if that was to have a minus sign in front of that, I wouldn't pay that, because that means that I have financial aid to cover it and I'm looking at a possible refund. I want to speak to you about authorized user. An authorized user is similar to a proxy. However, this has to do strictly with your student's financial account. It's important for you to be listed as an authorized user so that if you were to call our office, then we could speak with you. It's also important because you will receive the exact same information that your student receives regarding their financial status. They will enter in your email, and then they will select what they want you to have access to. Most people select yes for all of that, and then they would hit continue. You, as the authorized user, would receive 2 emails. One would be your password, and one is the link. And once you get into that, then you're able to see all of the financial information of your student. Your student really shouldn't share their information with you. They have the right to the privacy, and so that's why we have you use an authorized user, because if you were to call in, we need to make sure that you have approval from them. I'm going to go back to the home page, and we're going to look at what I owe. So as I stated, my balance is $7,978.63. If I was to select that, and it's coming up, then you can see that for the fall 2020, that's my balance. And if you drill down, and you can drill down in this program, you can see everything that has hit my account. If you were to look at my account, you would think that I had been charged twice for housing. Well, I had been charged for my contract, and then the contract is removed so that I can be placed on a payment plan. Our office puts your housing and meals for your student onto a payment plan automatically. Those payments are due the 15th of August, September, October, and November. This does not cover any of your students' tuition, and I will show you how to set up a payment plan for their tuition. Back to the home page. It's always a great place to go back to. Just a reminder to everybody that your payments need to be, either your account needs to be paid in full, or you have to have a payment plan in place and have paid your housing prior to or no later than August 28th. After August 28th, any outstanding balance will receive a $100 late fee. It is best to wait for your financial aid to be applied if your student has financial aid, and that will be applied around the 9th or 10th of August. Yes, that is a Sunday, but that will be applied at that time. Remember, financial aid is applied to tuition and fees first, and then any remaining financial aid will be applied to housing. If you apply for and accept a Parent Plus loan, it'll also be applied in that same order. So it would pay off the rest of the tuition and then go on to pay on the student's housing and meals. If there's any remaining funds after financial aid, that's when you'll see a negative balance here. And that will be returned to the student via direct deposit, which takes 3 to 5 business days, or a check could be mailed. That's 7 to 10 days. We don't mail out of state, so your student would have to come into our office during our hours to pick up a check if we still have an out-of-state address. So the best thing for you to do is to go ahead and set up a refund account. So I'm going to talk to you about a payment plan now for your tuition and fees. That's right up here at the top. The cost of the payment plan is $130. The $130 includes a $30 payment plan fee and $100 that is removed from your student's account. You go ahead and select Enroll Now, and it will bring up all terms that I have eligible bills for. Again, please remember this is not your housing. So we're going to go ahead and pick up Fall 2020. And this is the tuition plan that I'm eligible to enroll in. As you can see, it will be broken into 3 installments. So I'm going to go ahead and hit select. And it'll bring up another page with a lot of information on it. So my bill for just my tuition and fees is $2,186. I would have to pay $130 today. The $100 is considered as the down payment. If I wanted to pay anything additional to that, I would go ahead and put that amount here. So I want to pay a total of $1,000 on my bill plus the $30 setup fee. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And as you can see over here, it shows on the right hand side that my installments would be $695 and some change. If I update that schedule, you will see that it will be applied to those monthly payments. And those have now dropped to $395. Installment 1 is due on 9/15, then 10/15, and 11/15. So today I would have to pay $1,030. The leftover payment plan here can be broken up. As I said, it's in 3 payments, and you can have automatic payments set up for those. If you would like to have that and have us draft your account on the 15th of each month, you'll want to select, yes, I want to set up my payments. If you would rather wait and make that payment yourself, you'll want to say no. So I will select no. You are allowed to set up automatic payments for your tuition and fees, but not for your housing. Your housing, you actually have to come in and make that payment. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue. And this will take you to how you can make that payment. You can either do a credit card or an electronic check. Please remember that if you use a credit card, there is a fee of 2.85%. So anytime you use anything plastic, that's going to be an additional fee. So the best thing for you to do is to use an electronic check. Those checks can be from your personal checking or a savings account. You can always put in that information as well. This is going to take us to yet another page where I would put in my account information. I would select checking, and then I would enter my routing number and my bank account number. An example of your routing number is right here. And so this is your routing number. This is your account number. You'll want to enter your bank account number by reading your check. And I always suggest that you read it the second time. Don't just copy and paste, because if you enter it wrong the first time, then there'll be a problem the second. You also can just save this payment method for future use, so when you come in and you don't have to enter this information, but if you're more comfortable, just go ahead and leave it blank. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my main page, to my home, and I'm going to talk to you about statements. I do not have a statement on my account right now. It would be listed right here as a statement. So I want you to remember that your statement is a picture in time. So if your student currently has a statement, that amount due will not change. but your student account right here, this balance will change. So you want to make sure that you're not paying off the statement, especially if financial aid has been applied. If I wanted to just make a payment, I could select right here and I could pay everything I owe, or I could pay the amount that is due. The reason for the difference in these amounts is because all that is currently due today is my tuition and fees. The $7,978 includes my housing for the rest of the semester, and as of right now, none of that is due. One last important tab I'd like to discuss is refunds. As I stated to you, the best way and most secure way for you to get a refund, or for your student to get a refund, is to set up an e-refund account. They will walk through these steps, and there is verification. So I'm not going to do that right now because that'll take much longer. But this is the best way to get your account, and it's also the fastest. As I stated, we will apply the financial aid on the 9th or 10th of August. That is 1 week before classes begin. So if you get a refund, then you can use that money to go and buy your books at the bookstore. One last thing is to remember some important dates. August 28th, you have to have a payment plan in place, or you need to be current on the bill to avoid a $100 late fee. The next late fee for the fall semester will be November 16th. If your student makes any changes to classes, or they decide to move rooms and there's a difference in their bill, make sure that you come back and check the student activity before the 28th, because there's a possibility they may need to make a payment. Another thing is, if they have financial aid and they have had that applied to their bill, and then they get a refund and then they add another class, they have an additional bill that they'll be responsible for paying. Accounts receivable is always willing to help. Our email, as I stated, is WSU accounts receivable at wichita.edu, or by phone, area code 316-978-3333. If you have any problems with what I've discussed today, feel free to email us and we can set up a Zoom appointment for you. I hope that what I've discussed with you today has been helpful. And I will turn this back or I'll open it for questions. I guess we'll go back to Alicia at this time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Teresa. I want to go ahead and take time just to remind you, there's a lot of information that is kept within the student portal. And a lot of times there's a lot of anxiety or stress around, I don't know where this is at. Take time to click around. You cannot mess anything up. If so, I probably would have already done it and we would have fixed it by now. And so really take time just to familiarize yourself with the portal, click around, and then if at any time you hit any roadblocks or you experience a challenge or difficulty, my go-to is wichita.edu/one-stop. At our one-stop website, there are agents that work around the clock, 24/7, 365 a day, a year, and they are there on standby to help answer questions. We even have screenshots of how do I access the proxy? How do I access the authorized user form? There's actual screenshots of what you need to see and step-by-step process that's listed there for you to go to. So make sure you check that out. Next, I'm going to turn it over to my partner in crime and good friend, Kim Sandlin, who's going to talk to you about student success at Wichita State and all of the opportunities that are available for your students. Kim?
All right, thank you. Before I get started, I also wanted to make sure that you all were clear that there is a difference between being a proxy and having access as an authorized user. The proxy is for your student's educational record. the authorized user is for the financial bill payment. So I just wanted to mention those two things, but absolutely, as Alicia said, One Stop is the right place to go if you're having problems with PINs. I think I saw something in the chat about challenges with PINs or the process. One Stop is really there to help. Of course, as Teresa said, accounts receivable is there to help as well. So just reach out, and every single situation is different, different circumstances for all of that, and we want to make sure that we get you to the right place in the right process, because it can be different depending on your student's situation. So, all right, we'll put that aside for a minute and talk about student success. We have 4 functional areas in our office, and so many of you have already participated in parent orientation, where maybe you already heard from Alicia and I there. Maybe you've been with us before on parent chats, but really the focus is to make sure that the transition for our new students is smooth, goes well, and they're as successful as possible. The other area that I really want to focus on tonight and talk a little bit about is our academic success programs. And that is our location on campus is our Shocker Learning Center in Lindquist Hall, room 107. And that is where your students can find access to free tutoring and our supplemental instruction program. And so I'll talk a little bit about both of those. Free tutoring is free, so be careful when you are looking for a tutor and you're signing up for that service, that you're going through the campus resources that we have first. There are a lot of private tutors, and certainly you're welcome to explore those options. That may be what works for your family the best, but make sure that you check out what's free to your student as well, especially parents and families of new students who are in lower level courses, 100, 200, 300 level courses. So if you go to the Shocker Learning Center or in the student portal that Alicia mentioned earlier, which is the mywsu.wichita.edu space, your students can request a tutor for any of the classes that they are enrolled in. And what we will do is connect them with whatever resource exists for them. For instance, we have a math lab and a writing center and geeks tutoring for our engineering majors. We have programs through diversity and inclusion, through TRIO. And so we want to make sure that we're getting your student to the right resource. We also want to make sure that we're not providing the same service that somebody else provides, because we want to be very clear about that, and we want to make sure that, again, we're connecting you to the right place. So if you go to the Shocker Learning Center or request a tutor from the student portal, we will follow up with you. We'll get a tutor for you. Our office in particular looks for tutors that have to serve in the students to serve in those tutor roles who have previously taken the course here at WSU and have earned an A or an A- in the course. So want you to just know that we look for our quality students, and these students are outstanding as far as knowing when student needs help with content in a class and when the student might need a little bit of assistance with study skills. So they're trained in both of those areas. They can really help students identify and build on study skills that will help them be most successful in their classes. And again, it's free through any resource that is available on campus. The other program that's in our Shocker Learning Center is supplemental instruction. And that is kind of an enhanced tutoring service, right? So if your student is enrolled in a course that is supported by supplemental instruction, or SI, the SI leader will introduce themselves the first day of class, whether that is online or in person, either way. They will support that class. Most of our supplemental instruction and tutoring will begin online. And then as we move through the semester, it's very possible that there will be some in-person opportunities on a case-by-case basis. So they are trained both to tutor online, remotely, and also in person. And so that SI leader is going to reach out to the class the Friday before classes begin and ask them if they're interested in the program and when they would like to meet. Then that leader is responsible for creating study guides and lesson plans and things for 3 out-of-class tutoring sessions per week. Okay, so they will actually attend the class with the students. They will put their notes and everything together. They will review material. It is not a re-lecture, so students can't just go to SI because they missed the lecture. They have to attend class. And then those review sessions are really to make sure that the student is understanding content and all of that. I will say they are also trained in study skills and helping identify if students may have issues with note taking or preparing for exams. They do a lot of extra review sessions before tests and quizzes and exams and midterms and finals. As long as the students are participating, they will have access to all of that study material. It's really an interesting collaborative study space, which is proven to help learning, to help improve learning, and students typically are getting about half a letter grade better when they take advantage of those SI sessions. The other kinds of things through the Shocker Learning Center that students can get help on if they are in need of a little bit of assistance in study skills, time management, textbook reading, like I said, note taking and test taking earlier. We do have an online assessment that we can work with students with. They can take that online and receive some modules and some exercises they can work on outside of classroom to really build those skills, make those skills stronger, because those will benefit them after college as well. The other 2 programs that we have in student success are Office of Student Money Management. So I often tell people we don't give money, we don't take money, but we try to help students make good decisions with their money. And so if your students might need someone else besides a parent perhaps, or an administrator, or someone to talk to them as a peer. It's a great opportunity to have the discussions of wants versus needs, and how do you make your excess financial aid last, and do you really need to eat out all the time, and all of those kinds of conversations we're happy to have, and have them regularly with our students. And then our final area is our success coach area. So if your students need a little bit of accountability or just someone to check in with on campus, we've got coaches assigned to every academic college. And so the focus of those coaches is to make sure students are doing well in classes, but they also work very closely with other resources on campus, which I know Alicia is going to talk about in a minute, our care team and our counseling center and other resources like that. So I'll stop. I know I've been talking a lot and there's lots of questions. So I'll stop there and throw it back to Alicia.
Great. Thanks, Kim. So like Kim said, their office really houses a lot of really good student services to really help provide those wraparound services for students, whether that's accountability and working with a success coach. Being here for 17 years, the number one thing that I see that a lot of our first year students really struggle with is time management. And how do they begin to navigate that system of no longer having mom and dad wake me up to go to class, make sure that homework's done, all of those things, and really begin that shift. Within student affairs, we have what's called care team. And care team is a group of people on campus, and we're really on standby to help students as they go through their journey and when life isn't so kind, right? And so whether that's your student gets homesick, if there's any kind of emotional, mental, I like to say engagement, anxiety issues, how we can help them really not only connect with resources on campus, but also making sure that we are providing them the support they need to be successful. And so with that, we have our care coordinators who will reach out and work with them and get them connected with services, and also make sure that we're providing them that ongoing support, whatever that may be. We have a lot of questions that are in the chat, and so we'll go ahead and start with some of those. The other thing that I will just reiterate before we jump into questions is really making sure that your students are checking their email. This is probably something that I can't reiterate enough, is that there's a lot of communication that will be sent to your students between now and the first couple weeks of classes from the university, from their instructors, and making sure that they're checking that on a regular basis, because that's going to help them make sure that they are in the know of what's going on. And so we can go ahead and bring Teresa and Kim back on the screen. Let's get to some of these questions. And so how does proxy work? And so we talked a little bit about that, and the difference between proxy and being a authorized user. And so I know that we put the link out on the chat box. And so if there's a question and you need to reset your password, if that's not working, if you go to wichita.edu/onestop, they will be able to help navigate and get that fixed and reset for you. Teresa, the bill that was just posted, was that just tuition only, or was that housing?
The bill that was posted, I believe, was posted before housing got put on. So the parent or the student will need to go into the account and look at the student activity. And that's where you'll see anything that has happened since the last statement.
Great. All right. And so if student is living on campus, the bill they just got for fall semester, it's fees only. Yes. Okay. And so housing and meal plan will be billed out on the 15th or after?
Actually, it's on your account, on your student account now, as long as they've applied for housing. And yes, that bill is due August 15th, but because of it being the first month, we allow housing to wait to be paid with everything else on by the 29th. So financial aid will apply. We'll pay off tuition and fees first, and then we'll start on their August payment for housing and meals. If there's still money left, we'll go into September and continue on.
Great. And so about the payment plan, so say a student has a scholarship that is applied late to the account, will that automatically reduce that payment plan, or will that amount stay the same?
It actually, after the payment plan is set up and a scholarship goes on, it will pay towards the first payment. So if the student needs to pay $300 a month and they get a $500 scholarship, their first payment will be paid off, and then it will start onto the second payment.
Okay, great.
It is best to wait. I know that scholarships come in all the time, but it is best to wait until the student's financial aid has been applied. And there's not a problem if you wait till later in the month, as long as it's not after the 28th.
Okay, great. Kim, how would my student get connected with their success coach?
Oh, great question. You can go to our website, wichita.edu/success, and there's a little box right there, kind of on the right, and it'll say meet your success coach, and you just click there. And depending on your major, we list them all out. It is by academic college, so you'll be able to see who that is. They'll have their email, their phone number. There right now, they are working remotely. So if you want to have your student meet with their success coach before the semester begins, they are meeting with students continually and have been all summer long. So they're welcome to set up an appointment anytime. They can also call our office at 378-326-978-3209, and we can get them in contact with their coach there as well.
And then what does it mean? There's a note on their registration of an administrative hold due to shocker connection. What's that about?
So the shocker connection hold refers to the meeting between, or the interaction between the student and the academic advisor. So if the student is coming right out of high school, they are going to see a first year advisor in One Stop. And those Shocker Connection holds if again, traditional freshmen right out of high school, those holds are released after they have completed, I believe it's module 1 for orientation. So your student may have the schedule worked out, but that hold will come off once they've begun to clear those modules for orientation. If your student is a transfer student, a new transfer student, that is cleared by the academic advisor in the academic college. So you'll want to connect with your academic college advisor. We handle that a couple of different ways. Typically, our new freshmen need a little bit more support because it's the first time that they've navigated a college campus. So that's why they go through the One Stop and first year advising to really be able to walk through all of those logistics. And our new transfers will then be seen by the academic college's academic advisors.
All right. What if my student has a learning disability? What support's available?
I'll let you answer that.
Okay. And so students who have a learning disability, we encourage them to contact our Office of Disability Services. You can go to wichita.edu/disability services. There's an online intake form that they would need to fill out. Once the intake form is submitted, you can, if your student has an IEP from high school, you can upload that as well. And our staff will reach out and talk to you about what accommodations we can provide and how they can best support you. And so that's a great question. All right.
I pipe in there too. I just want to make sure that you are also aware that the tutors and the SI leaders, we do work with them and train them on how to support students with disabilities as well. So that's something that we are very aware of and try very hard to support, to make sure that their learning experience is equally as successful. So I'll just put a plug in there for that.
Great. Thanks, Kim. Okay, so my student has mostly online classes. Is there tech support available through the university? And what technology is actually going to be required or needed?
Okay. The best place to start with that information is to go to wichita.edu/remote student. So I'm hopeful I can't chat and talk very well at the same time. So hopeful someone can pop that website up in the chat. Again, it's wichita.edu/remote student. And the first thing that website does is walk your student through 4 steps. Step 1 is check your tech. And that is where all of the information about the technology support will begin. So it's a great place to start. It talks about some software and hardware that you probably want to be prepared to use. I will say that if you are purchasing or thinking about purchasing a new laptop, you want to probably check out the deals at the Shocker store, which is our university bookstore. They have an incredible deep discount, whatever, educational discount, whatever those red tag sales are, when it comes to purchasing a laptop. And so check that out first. And then also your students should receive the Office suite, the Microsoft Office suite at no charge. So we can kind of share information if anybody's interested in more details there. Put it in the chat. We'll let you know about that. But you can access that through the students portal as well to get that loaded onto whatever device you may be using. If your student needs a laptop, doesn't have access to a laptop, you can request one from the university and we can provide a loaner laptop, as well as Wi-Fi devices or hotspots. We also have those available. Go to that remote student website and make sure that you're clicking those and making those requests, especially if you need a laptop or a hotspot right away. We anticipate those are going to go pretty quick. I have not heard how many are left or where we are in that process for fall yet, but I would imagine those are going to go pretty quick. So I think the other thing to to mention here, especially with fine arts. Fine arts, I know, requires a laptop for all of their students, but there may be particular software that your program or your department or your major needs for you to use. And so what I would do is start with your academic advisor or first year advisor to find out if there's something in particular. I'm talking probably engineering, fine arts. Those two areas really have some more technical software that our students are using, potentially business as well. So you just want to make those questions, especially with new students, go to your academic advisor to find out specifics. Other than that, that remote student website should work pretty well.
Great. Teresa, we have a parent who said that they were approved for a Parent Plus loan, but the financial aid office doesn't have record of it. What should they do?
Okay, well, financial aid is separate from financial operations, but we kind of work together. So I would suggest that you email FINAID, FINAID at wichita.edu, and they can help you with that. You should receive some sort of response from that. They're very good about doing that. The other thing you can always do is to call their direct line, and they will get you hooked up with One Stop, and they will help you out as well.
Great. And at any time, if you have not already done so, if you go to wichita.edu/family, you sign up for our parent family newsletter, you'll receive an email newsletter from myself in our area once a month. And we will have a lot of information in there as well. My personal contact information is in there. You can feel free to call, email, text me. I'll drop that in the chat here in a moment. And so if someone's not getting back to you, please let me know so that we can help make sure that we get communication going. Another question that came in is regarding parking. And so that was another topic we're talking about today. And so if your student is planning to bring a car to campus, they must have a parking permit. We do not give out physical parking permits anymore. They're all virtual parking permits. And so what does that mean? We have a scanner that will scan the parking lot, and it reads the license plate tags. And so if we're driving through the parking lot and we see beep, 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 this car is not registered, it's going to take a picture of the car and the license plate, and it's going to email a ticket to the student that car is registered to. And so it's, I had one student in my office who had like 6 tickets. They had no idea. The parent was mad because they said, well, we never received the physical ticket. So when they opened up their email and we checked, you know, the importance of looking at your email, and they saw that all of these tickets were emailed directly to them, they're like, oh my God, I didn't know because I don't check my email. So please make sure your student checks their email. It's really important. If you go to wichita.edu/parking, that's where your student is going to sign up for a parking permit. Now, if your student chooses not to park on campus, they do have the option of shuttling in, which means they can park at the Metroplex on 29th and Oliver, and they can shuttle into campus, no charge. There's a really cool app that they can use, which is Wichita State Shocker Shuttle. Is it called Shocker Shuttle? Am I making this up?
I'll check. I don't know.
Yeah, I have it on my phone as well.
On there, yeah.
It's a WSU shuttle app. Kim's going to check it, but it's really nice because the shuttle tracker shows all of the stops and locations on campus and how much time the next shuttle is going to take for the next shuttle. So if you're wanting to stop and get a latte on campus and you're like, ooh, am I going to make the shuttle? It'll tell you, hey, you have time to stop. If not, then you need to get booking. And so that's a great thing. There is a grace period. I will say the first week of classes, we're not ticketing typically. And so if your student does get a ticket after that, then it's, you know, they'll rack up. And so just make sure it could be anywhere from a $25 fine all the way up to a couple hundred. There is a initiative that we do with our student government called Food for Fines, and this is where we allow students to bring canned goods that will be donated to our Shocker Support Locker, and that helps to replenish our food locker on campus. And so we're essentially trading out food for the students' fines and fees. And so that's that. Questions go to wichita.edu/parking. The other thing with parking is where to park. Please pull up the campus map and show your students where they need to park. If there is a red lot or red zone, no, that's a no zone. Those are reserved parking for faculty, administrators typically. Our yellow lot is reserved for staff. And then there's the green lot. The green lot is open to students. And so I like to say green is go, yay. There's some spots that are green and yellow, and so that is a mixture for both faculty and staff to park in, and they'll be eligible to park there as well. We also have the parking garage, which is a little trickier because that is paid parking by the hour. And so if your student is in a class or they choose to stay a little bit late, they could get a ticket if they park beyond the hour and don't go and re-up the meter in the parking garage. So that's an option there as well.
That shuttle app, if you go to wichita.edu/parking, I know this is such an old school way to do it. But it's the only way that I know. It's going to look like this. Wow, like this. The Shocker
Shuttle
tracker app. And you can link to then your app store for that. They're not running currently because we're in the summer. So it's not going to be updated until those routes start running again. So you can pick up that app once the semester gets closer.
Yeah. All right. Teresa, we do have a question about military fees paid by the military. Mm-hmm. And so if they don't get the paperwork processed by the 28th, should they go ahead and set up a payment plan?
Yes. Again, you want to save yourself that late fee, so go ahead and set up a payment plan, and then once your military can get applied to it, and you'll be all set. So it is important to make sure you have all of your financial aid in place. One of the things that you need to do is out on the portal. Again, we kind of team with financial aid, but on the portal, there are flags, financial aid, and you don't want any red ones. So they could be missing a signature, they could be missing a page. So you need to go out and make sure that all of your flags on your financial aid are green, so that when financial aid is posted, then it will apply to the student's account.
Perfect. I see that there's some, Erin, I am posting my email and office number in the chat. And so if you can shoot me an email or give me a call tomorrow, I'm more than happy to help get you connected with the right people to get your issue resolved. That is that. Go ahead. Other questions or comments? No? Okay.
I would also say, if you are a parent or family member of a new student, we do have in-person orientation events happening next week. They start on Monday and Tuesday. They run from 9 to 2. And if you are interested in coming to campus for in-person service, most of these service areas are open. We begin getting back to in-person service 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, I believe next week. So there'll be a lot of assistance if you're not local and moving in. those programs will also be available the following week as well. And so I think there's a collection now of 5 August event days. And so you might want to take an opportunity to attend one of those. We ask to RSVP ahead of time. You can go to wichita.edu/orientation to do that. You can get your student ID and some other things as well in person if you want to speak with folks in these different offices.
And also on that note, our office will be open 8 to 5 starting on Monday as well. And in the meantime, or if you don't want to come to campus, we're always welcome to do a Zoom call. So if you want to reach out to us at Wichita WSU Accounts Receivable at wichita.edu, then we can go ahead and set up a Zoom appointment for you, and we can go over your student's account. Also, oh, sorry. Okay. Anyway, if you have any questions, just reach out to us. We're here to help you. We want to see your students succeed, and we don't want you to have to worry about the financial side. We want to help, and we're always there for you.
I will say, I'll reiterate what Teresa said. Through our student money management area, we see a lot of students who come to us very stressed out about finances, and they have always been really, really understanding and flexible. There's deadlines and there's some things that you can't push, but they're very understanding and really do a good job of working with students, and particularly those that get into some interesting and sticky situations, always willing to help out and work with you.
Yeah. So students start moving in on Saturday. What offices are open? Ooh, I wish. COVID really has us moving. It looks vastly different than it traditionally does. And so unfortunately, there will not be any offices that'll be open on Saturday other than housing. But if you have any questions or need anything, my information's in the chat box. Feel free to shoot me an email or call me, and I'm more than happy to help get you connected thereafter or even that weekend if there's something that you need while you're here. Speaking of moving, we're excited to have your students move into the resident halls. If you've not already done so, please make sure that you have added face coverings to their back to school list. That's something that we are going to be asking all students, faculty, and staff to make sure that they're wearing face covering when on campus, just to make sure that we're protecting ourselves and our partners and peers, and just making sure that we're providing a safe environment for all. And so that's one thing I do want to make sure that we reiterate. And if your student doesn't have face covering, it's okay. We will have some available for them. They're in Shocker Hall here in the Radigan Student Center, and also at our Shocker Support Locker on campus. And so there'll be a lot of information and messaging that will be sent out to your students. Again, if you want to be in the loop and just know what's going on, if you enjoy our table talk with parents, you can come and join us next month. We will be continuing these throughout the semester with various departments on campus, and really looking for ways just to enhance that partnership with you all. If there's topics that you feel that you would like us to present on, or just to get experts from those areas, feel free to shoot me an email or call. And we're happy to get those scheduled. After all, we're here to serve and work for you and your students. And so we're excited to be a part of the journey. Other questions that have come in that I may have missed? Any that you see? No. A lot of great questions today. All
That's
right.
amazing that when we're talking about something that does get complicated, like finances, that we've answered all the questions. Hopefully we have. It sounds maybe like we have. We talk a lot about proxy and authorized user and move-in, and what you can do and what you can't do, and when you can do it and how you can do it, and all of that. It does become overwhelming. We've heard that on a couple of our chats that some of the parents will say, we're all overwhelmed. And we know it's a sometimes can be an overwhelming process, and that's why we do these programs.
Yeah.
Don't feel like, if you're if you're more confused now than when you started, you're probably not the only one. But like Alicia and Teresa have said, we want to help you through this process, especially this year. It's a particularly hard and stressful time, and so want you all to know that the university's been working really hard to do the best that we can to be as flexible as we can with the services, how we're offering them, when we're offering them. So also there's an interesting balance that we've had to strike between the remote need for service and the in-person need for service. And we're all working through that and doing the best that we can to keep your students safe, and then to keep all of our faculty and staff safe as well.
Another way to stay safe online with or working online with our office, our motto is online, not inline. So you don't have to come into our office at all. Everything can be taken care of through your portal or via email. So, take advantage of that. We'll work with you. We'll work with your student. We'll make it happen. We're here to support you. So just remember that. Online, not inline.
I love it. I love it.
So good.
Great. Okay, so visitor permit, if they come more than 4 to 5 times, does this include games? Ooh.
Remember, with games, if your student is living in Shocker Hall, most people park down in the area that the game is, the parking lots that are reserved for the games. So make sure your student is signed up for parking blasts so that they can get information that they need to get their car out of that area for the night. We don't want them to get a ticket because they didn't move their car in time. Visitor parking is a good thing if you feel you'll be here quite a bit, but on the weekends they don't usually ticket in. They don't ticket in the lot. So if you're here on the weekends, you're fine.
Great. Yeah.
I would add on that game day parking. Sorry, I haven't seen any announcement yet about basketball. I'm assuming we're talking basketball. That is a total assumption.
Yes.
Volleyball was moved back. There are no asks for moving your car for volleyball parking, but there are asks for moving the cars for basketball parking. So provided we are able to have games with spectators, who knows what that's going to look like. Folks are from campus who work and go to school are asked to move their cars. Visitor parking for games doesn't apply to other, like you're coming to campus to visit your student in the residence hall for something like game parking is like totally different. It's all different.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's even different for us as faculty staff. So I did see a question about buying books. There's a great site. It's in the Shocker store on the student portal down on the right-hand side. Student can put in their CRN, which is their number for the class, and it will tell them what books are available. And you can purchase your books. And I understand there's something in place this semester where we'll deliver them to the dorms.
Yep. Deadline is tomorrow.
Another question that we get a lot of times is that their financial aid money isn't back in time. That's where e-refunds comes in. Really, that's real important. But also, there's time. If they don't have it for that first day, most times they're okay. So by the time they get their refund check, they'll be able to get their books.
Right. And for those of you who are moving your students in this weekend or next week, welcome. We will not kick you out. You do have a 1-hour time limit to move your student in. Because of COVID, we are asking that we have 10 families moving into each building per hour. And so we ask that if you go, you unload your stuff, that you stay out of the big areas so that we can have other families moving in and out. But as long as you have face covering on, you're fine. We know a lot of times families will come and unload, and then they'll do a Target or Walmart run and get extra supplies that they may have forgotten to bring or that they are needing, and that's completely fine. Just know that we do ask to help minimize crowding in some of those bigger spaces. We ask that you just be cognizant and come and go and stay out of those big areas. Books was already addressed. Parking permits. How much does a parking permit cost?
$75 per $75 per semester. You can purchase it by the semester, or you can purchase it for the year. And that's at WSU, wichita.edu/parking.
Perfect. All right. So, any last questions? We have 1 minute. I just want to thank Kim and Teresa for joining us, and all of you parents out there. I love this because it's very informal, and it's a way for us really just to get to know our families and help you with the process, and really just reiterating the fact that we're here to support you every step of the way. And so at any time, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, issues, we do them all. Don't hesitate to call me, email me, text me. My information is out online. We're here to support you. We look forward to having you and your students joining us this fall semester. And once again, we welcome you to the Shocker family. Thanks for joining us tonight. Oh, one more question. Adrian, real quick. Can refunds just stay in the account and be applied to next semester?
No, we're not a bank. So we do refund them. Feel free to put it into a bank account and hold on to it for next semester.
Yep, great question. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to connecting with you again in the future. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Everybody.